I thought it's very important that the two of you should meet, because Heinz understands, well, perhaps more than anyone, the nature of our business.
The West completely missed that in Dubai, Khan and his associates were not just buying, they were selling. It was a catastrophic failure of intelligence.
In the 1980s, the US, the UK and other countries were watching the Khan network in terms of building Pakistan's own bomb. In the 1990s, Western intelligence agencies lost track of Khan. They really didn't appreciate what he was doing. They didn't understand that he'd made a shift from building Pakistan's own bomb to being a salesman.
It would be years before the West obtained the first evidence that Khan was selling. They had to wait until after the first Gulf War, when UN weapons inspectors went into Iraq to check on Saddam's weapons of mass destruction, including his atom bomb project. At a chicken farm in the Iraqi desert, they uncovered a treasure trove of documents. Now at the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, where Khan's former colleague at Urenco, Trevor Edwards, works as a weapons inspector. Still classified, the chicken farm documents include the AB, or atom bomb memo. The memo reveals that in 1990, the Iraqi Secret Service had received an offer from Khan's network. Dr. Abdel Qadir Khan is prepared to give us project designs for a nuclear bomb, materials from Western European countries via a company he owns in Dubai. Ironically, Saddam turned them down because he thought it was a CIA setup. Yet Saddam's regime would eventually be destroyed by the Americans and British, claiming he had weapons of mass destruction. Inexplicably, the West did nothing to stop the very man who had tried to sell Saddam nuclear secrets. And so during the 1990s, Khan and his network were allowed to become very rich on the proceeds of successful sales to other clients the West knew nothing about. Khan became a multi-millionaire with a large property portfolio, a collection of vintage cars, and a taste for tailor-made suits.
Here, I'll take 2 shirts of the same size, please. Thank you.
I think Khan was motivated by a mixture of greed and idealism. Greed was definitely there. He amassed a large amount of money. But he also did have wider ideological motivations. Motivations partly centred around resentment of the West, partly centred around a desire to spread the bomb to as many countries as possible, because he believed it was the right of countries to have a nuclear bomb for their own security if they wanted it.
May 1998. Pakistan exploded its first bomb in response to Indian nuclear tests the same month. The threat of atomic warfare on the subcontinent between the two enemies was now ever present. But overnight, Khan became a hero in Pakistan and much of the Muslim world.
I remember how President Musharraf praised me to the Pakistani people. Allah Almighty has heard our nation's prayers. You are a national hero. Your place in history is assured.
think the ultimate event was the test in 1998. It was a clear-cut signal to their Islamic brothers that it could be done, and it's been stated by A.Q. Khan and other leaders in Pakistan from the beginning that this was not just the Pakistani bomb, that this was the Islamic bomb. And, you know, I think that that's something of grave concern.
A.Q. Khan was instrumental in Pakistan getting the bomb, which has heightened the chance of nuclear war in South Asia. Also, you have to worry that a future government may become fundamentalist and then may use its nuclear arsenal to confront the West and become much more provocative and aggressive. So you have to worry a great deal about the nuclear assets in Pakistan.
The research laboratories at Kahuta now began brazenly advertising nuclear technology at international arms fairs. But who was Khan selling to?
There were a number of warning signs that Khan might have been up to something more dangerous. There were signs from Khan's unusual travel. He was travelling to a lot of countries around the world where it wasn't clear exactly what he was doing.
One of these countries was the brutal communist dictatorship of North Korea, which was actively seeking nuclear weapons. The Koreans provided Pakistan with missiles for their atomic arsenal. In return, Western diplomats suspected Khan provided them with centrifuges, which Pakistan denied. As concerns grew in the late 1990s, intelligence on Khan was made top priority.
A joint task force was set up between MI6 and the CIA. It was agreed between the two sides that they'd share everything, but that it would be a very small team and that no one outside the teams would be told about what they were doing.
The task force concentrated on Khan's activities in Dubai and the Middle East, and made a shocking discovery.
For a valued customer as yourself, I think it is important that we should meet in person. And of course,
Khan's network was dealing with one of the West's sworn enemies, Colonel Gaddafi. Libya had orchestrated terrorist attacks against the West, including the Lockerbie atrocity, which cost 270 lives. The intelligence team knew Libya wanted to buy nuclear weapons materials and suspected Khan was prepared to sell them. The question was, what to do about it?
We had to make a decision. Do we stop this activity or do we watch it longer in the hope of understanding it better so that when we moved against it, we could take it out by the roots? And it was clearly the preference in Washington to watch it, track it better. And when we understand it better and feel we can eradicate it more completely, to take action only then.
But the pursuit of Khan was suddenly thrown off course. "9/11 strengthened Khan's position, just as the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan had done 20 years earlier.
September the 11th attacks hugely complicated and slowed down efforts to stop A.Q. Khan. That's because all of a sudden Pakistan was a very important ally for the United States. The US needed Pakistan's help in going after al-Qaeda and going after Osama bin Laden. And that was a problem in dealing with A.Q. Khan, because to deal with Khan, you needed to put pressure on Pakistan. And doing that was very difficult because of Khan's status as a national hero.
The Americans pressured Pakistan to rein in Khan. President Musharraf called him in person.
Arey, Assalamu alaikum, Musharraf Saab. This is indeed an honor. Nothing, President Saab. This is a routine trip. I do it so often, and you know that There is no problem, there's nothing to be worried about. President Saab, why are you bothering yourself with the details? You know that when I am there, everything will be okay, inshallah.
Despite the warning, Khan continued to sell Pakistan's atom bomb technology. But his cover was about to be blown. Iran, the hardline Islamic Republic, and another Middle Eastern state with nuclear ambitions. In 2002, an Iranian exile group revealed to the world the existence of an unknown uranium enrichment facility. Six months later, after intense diplomatic negotiation, UN inspectors gained access to Iran. We've reconstructed their investigation. They headed straight for Natanz.
They offered us a helicopter ride from Tehran to Natanz, but we decided that let's take a car. We drove that 250, 300 kilometer stretch from Tehran to Natanz. And with a high speed, it was all the time 170 kilometers per hour when we are pushing, because most of the time it's actually almost like a desert.
When you get there, you realize that the whole complex is very secretive. The major plant will be underground once it's built. It's not yet built, but once it is built, it'll be underground. And above ground, there is a pilot plant under construction.
The inspectors were taken to a conference room and presented with details of the enrichment program. The Iranians claimed they had nothing to hide.
He said that we have developed this all by ourselves. We have used certainly all public information which was available. The project had lasted 5 years and basically used internet, etc. And that's what you see, and this is a genuine Iranian centrifuge.
I went into the pilot plant. I also went into the workshops. Now, in the workshops, they had